How does your energy impact the way that you connect with spirits, whether that be your loved ones or spirit guides or any other spiritual beings that you might come in contact? In this episode, I'm going to talk about the importance of your own energy and the projection that you have about the spirits that you're connecting with and why they might show up in the way they do to you. Welcome to the Soul Alignment Mentor Podcast. I'm your host, Angie, and I'm inviting you to explore the depths of self-sabotage, limiting mindsets, and the beliefs that hinder our progress in life. Through intuitive messages I receive from my spirit team, I share profound insights to help you live authentically and break free from these limitations. Join me now as we uncover all the keys to living your best life. Welcome back. My name's Angie, and I am your Soul Alignment Mentor, bringing you intuitive messages to help you align with your most authentic and highest self. So today I want to talk about energy and the projection of energy into the spirit realm. And the reason I think this is important is because there's a lot of misinformation out there cycling the world about dark spirits and dark entities. And one of the things that we have to keep in mind is that we are what is reflecting into the world around us. Our perception of ourself is often what we see reflected back to us. And the energy that we hold within us is the energy we will perceive around us. And the reason sometimes that this moves into the spirit connection and communication is because it is taught this way. And I, having a history being in religion for many years, going to a Christian college, studying the Bible, doing everything I was supposed to do right as a Christian, had a lot of fear built inside of me about the spirit realm. And so it was natural for me when I would have contact with spirits prior to my awakening in 2016 that I would think that these spirits were evil or they were dark demons trying to harm me in some kind of way. And if I were to have said something to someone in the church, that's what they would have told me. They would have said, oh, that's a demon. You need to cast that out, or in Jesus' name, use the blood of Jesus to get away from you. And I did that quite often when I was a Christian, and I would pray over things and say Jesus' name and demand things to leave. And here's what's true. It worked. However, these spirits seemed to keep hanging out with me, and I would still be in contact with some kind of being around me. And when I had my awakening in 2016, it was a very gradual process for me to understand and learn that the way I think, the way I believe, the energy I hold within myself is what projects into all of the experiences around me. And so when I'm in the energy of fear, I am projecting fear into my connection with the spirit realm. And what is interesting is spirits don't necessarily show themselves as a being of light. It takes a lot of energy for a spirit to show up as an orb or as something other than a shadow. In our physical nature as a human, our eyes, the way our eyes work, we are not capable of looking straight forward into that energy and seeing color. So we perceive spirits as shadows or dark. And this is why when you might be sitting somewhere, if you've ever thought you saw a shadow or you saw something run past you or you've experienced something, these sides of our eyes, because we're not focusing straight on, will pick up on things around us. And these are likely, they could be spirits that are around us that are appearing out of the corner of our eyes as shadows or as quick moving things around us. Now, that can be very alarming if you have a perception of fear about this kind of energy or about spirits. And so, what I want to explain to you in this episode is how to change your perception and why it's important when you start working with the spirit realm of darkness and light. We as humans have been taught to believe that darkness is evil and light is good. But here's the reality of it. Darkness is not necessarily evil. Darkness is just the absence of the frequency of light. But darkness still has light within it. That is why you can turn a light on in a dark room and the light will be seen and not the darkness. But the darkness did not go anywhere. The light just moved into that darkness. The darkness allowed the light to be there. And so when we have a perception of darkness as bad or evil, we will project our understanding and our perception into that energy, and that's how we're going to see it. It's not that it is evil. It's not that it is bad. It means that that element of itself is projecting itself in that form of void of light. And here's what's really interesting about this void of light that I have come to understand as I have worked with spirits and I have done my own out of body experiences several times, is when the spirit leaves the body, they often go into a place of void. They go into a place of darkness. Now, the perception of our human mind automatically goes to evil, or if you are from religion, maybe hell. But that is not what this is. The way that my spirit team and my higher self and the spirits I work with have been able to explain this to me, it's like the womb of the universe. It's like the mother's womb, where the spirits go and work on their transition between the different timelines and dimensions of energy. Because spirits come into the 3D energy here on Earth, there has to be a place where they can do that transition back and forth in between the realms. This is a very, very heavy, dense energy here on Earth. And so when they shift into a higher consciousness, when they leave the body and they go back into their original form as spirit, there is what we might call the womb or the holding space, the void in between the 5th and 7th dimension. And so this could be considered like the 6th dimension. Now, in the 6th dimension, there's a lot more things going on in that realm than just darkness or just a void. But this energy allows a spirit to kind of change its frequency from the lower dimensions to be able to move into the higher dimensions, because it's such a difficult experience here on Earth, and the lessons they learn are so dense and heavy that this is almost like the clearing out they might go through in order to move into the other realms and dimensions. And a lot of times within this element of this womb or this void, and when they're going through this experience, the spirit will have its life review. It will look at its life. It will experience its life. It will see its life. And in that, it learns about what it experienced on Earth as a human and what it's taking back with it as it moves back into the higher dimensions. And so what can happen is the spirit might come into this next realm, or maybe even become still, a little bit confused about not being a human anymore, and stay a part of the lower dimensions that we would call lower dimension, and project themselves into the reality of the human experience. Now, everything needs energy to survive. And so, particularly spirits, when they don't have a body to work with, they will connect to a human body to get energy. And we are like little generators here on Earth, all humans. Even if you know anything about human design, there are people that create more energy than others, but we all create energy. We are all spirit. We all have the same type of energy within us. We all have the same chakras. We all have this same connection to our higher self, to our spiritual self. And so it's not that one person has more energy or less energy than another, or more important or more clear, or whatever it might be. It's the fact that that energy is something that a spirit can work with. Now, if this is a spirit that might be hanging out with you a lot, or you've noticed that there's been activity that has picked up around you, and maybe you lost a loved one recently, or maybe it's been a while and it seems like the spirit kind of showed up out of nowhere. It's very possible that the spirit that you're connecting with is a loved one. And because of your understanding, your belief system, the energy that you hold within yourself, that spirit will pick up on the energy that you have and use it to project back to you. So if I'm in the energy of fear and a spirit shows up to me and I can only see it as a shadow because my eyes are not capable of seeing the light of that frequency, then my perception of fear is going to reflect into that spirit, and that spirit is going to reflect fear back to me because I am feeding the fear. I am giving the energy of fear for it to use to project back to me. So if I step back out of my energy fear, if I step back into love, if I step back into my higher self, if I let go of those beliefs that I have been programmed to believe, my perception of the spirit will shift, and love and kindness and peace will be projected out to it. And then I can work with that spirit, or I can connect with it, and I can understand who that spirit is or what they're projecting into my reality as, and work with it. The spirits usually are hanging out because of a few reasons. Either they're trying to get a message to a loved one or to you. They might be trying to say, I'm sorry, or ask for forgiveness for something that they've gone through their life review and they've noticed on the other end that the other side they did to you. That happened with my dad and I. Or they might be a guide, or they could be trying to use you to get a message to somebody else because they can perceive your energy, that you can pick up on them and that you know they're there. And this is why spirits might often use a medium to give a message to somebody else, because they know that they can pick up on that energy. And that's also why somebody that works with spirits has to be doing a lot of their own work around their own energy and their belief system on their perception of spirits, to be able to get a clear and accurate reading with that spirit or message from that spirit so that they can give that to somebody else. So this takes a lot of work. It takes I don't want to say a lot of work. It takes self-awareness. It takes self-realization. It takes time to see what your pattern is, what your beliefs are, and what you're projecting outward. So if we were to have a spirit that was showing up in our reality multiple times, and each time that spirit showed up, we reacted in fear, and we're into scary movies, or we're constantly filling our mind with something that is fearful. Maybe you were watching the news a lot or whatever it might be. And then the spirit is trying to come into your reality and give you a message. Fear is how you're going to project into that spirit. And that spirit's going to pick up on that fear and say, okay, so they're going to know I'm here if I pick up on the energy that they are. So they're going to project the fear back to you. And that fear is going to be what gives you awareness of them being there. But if you're not working in the energy of fear, you're going to be projecting a different energy for them to work with, and they're going to be showing up differently. And this is why sometimes it's harder to pick up on spirits when you're not in the energy of fear. And I'm hearing my spirit guides guiding me in this right now as I'm speaking to you. So I'm going to work to listen to them as I share this so that I can get it to you in the most accurate way. And this is something that is just now coming through for me. So this is new information for me as well. But I'm hearing my spirit team. And just to let you know a little bit about my own personal spirit team, I have several beings and master teachers and guides and angels and entities that I work with. And one of those is my dad. And I also, one of my grandmothers is one of my guides. So my dad and my grandmother often show up in my energy. And I can tell the difference in their energy because I'm able to tune into the different frequencies in which they show up for me. So as a spirit shows up, that's why I was able to just now pick up that there was an energy or a spirit with me, because I felt the energy shift in my energy, and then they can give a message through me for you. But I hear them saying a message to share right now, that the reason that it's harder for, in our perception and our understanding, to pick up on an energy that's not projecting in darkness or light is because the frequency is at a different element. They're explaining that fear is such a dense energy that the fear is easier to pick up on in a human's ego than light and peace and flowing energy. Because the way they're explaining it to me is like, if you were to go out on a breezy day, just a very gentle breeze, maybe you wouldn't even notice the wind is blowing. That is kind of how the lightness of their energy might be. You may not even feel them around you unless you become still and you pick up on any energy or wind around you. Now, the denser energy could be like a storm, like the wind of a storm, and that heaviness of that storm coming in very quickly. And you don't have to become still to feel that energy. It is something that you feel just automatically when you just step into, when you go outside or you step into the storm's energy. And so they're explaining to me that because the lightness of the spirit, when you are not projecting fear, they're explaining that you have to become still enough to perceive that. And that's why people might say that dark spirits are around them, because they're in the denser energy and they're picking up on your energy to use that. Now, I hear them wanting to talk about why we should not want to work in the energy of fear when we're working with spirits. And the way that they're explaining this to me right now, and I might just let them start talking because I am trying to interpret it for them. And sometimes it's easier just for me to channel the message. And so let me tune in here and see if this is something that they can just share with you on their own without my ego and my mind trying to interpret it for them. I think I am going to step out, so let me prepare for that, and I will be back with a message directly from them. Divine ones, we understand that you are learning in this experience from our lovely Angie about the spirit realm. And so we want to help encourage you to understand this from the perspective of us and who we are as we work with humans. We understand that humans project things based on their energy field and who they are and what they believe. And what you believe impacts the way you connect with us. This is why many of you have a hard time connecting and many of you are able to connect very easily. And some of you can remember back in your childhood, before the idea of fear was completely placed in your mind, that you may have seen us, you may have experienced stuff, you may have had a friend that you spent time with. Many of you were able to see loved ones that have passed prior to you even coming to the earth, and you could explain to your family members what these loved ones were like and who they were. And so we want you to understand that spirits, as what you might call us, are a perception and reflection of the beings in which we originally are, but we project ourselves into the form and understanding of what a human might be able to understand. And because we project ourselves into the form and understanding of what humans can understand, we pick up on the energy of what that human is to be able to perceive ourselves and to give you an accurate understanding of who we are. But the accurate understanding is always based on your reflection and what you hold in your belief system and the energy of who you are. Now, we want to give you some examples. As a child, before a human is programmed to be in fear, they have a clear connection. They can understand that I am talking to this projection of my grandfather. Maybe you didn't know your grandfather before you came to be a human, but your spirit connects with them. Your spirit knows them. Your spirit is already one with them. And so that perception without the fear is what you perceive this to be, and that they are reflecting that into that that human's awareness in that way. That is how they can pick up on that energy. It is uncorrupted. It is taught that there is fear involved in it. Therefore, the reflection of it is not based in fear, is based in a different frequency, so they can perceive things in a different energy. Now, as humans become older, as they grow through their experience and their lessons they have wanted to go through as a human, their perception changes, their energy changes. They pick up a lot of things around them. They begin to hold trauma in their body. They begin to hold fear in their awareness. And particularly if you are taught to be fear, that perception of fear will become more and more prominent in your life. Now, when a spirit attempts to connect with you and talk with you, because of that energy you are projecting, they will use that energy to get your attention. It is not the spirit's desire to give you fear or to make you scared or cause you to feel anything that might be negative. It is simply because that is the energy we are using when we connect with you. So that is what you are perceiving as you feel us. Now, if you work out of the energy of fear, we are going to show up that way for you. When you work out of the energy of lightness and love and compassion and the element of your true original self, you can connect with us in that energy. The reason it shifts in the frequency and the consciousness and the awareness of your reality for it to be heavier in one element and lighter in the other one is because in the energy of a human, the fear is so dense, it is so heavy, it is something that is easily held in the body. And the fear is something that does not require a lot of effort or attention to create. The energy of lightness, the energy of your original form, your spirit self, the energy of your love frequency, which is not the love that we want to, that is human. It is the element of love that creates all beings, all living things, all entity, all energy. That energy is light. It is easy. It is flowing. And so just as Angie was sharing with you prior, what we were attempting to share with you all is that just like the wind, when it is very still, you have to be still to hear it, to sense it, to feel it. But when it is very, very quick and heavy and fast, this is much easier to pick up on because it is a denser energy. And that is the comparison of light and darkness. Neither of them are good or bad. Neither of them have a evil frequency about them. They are just different elements working in different energies for a different purpose. Because the energy of the storm is very condensed and gathered together, and you may feel it in a denser way, doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It doesn't mean it is evil. A storm comes because the energy has collided and collected in one area. And that is what's happened with the energetic body of a human, is there's energy that has collided and collected in your energy field. And that is the perception of who you are outward. And that is what we are using to project back to you. When you have cleared out these traumas, when you've cleared out the heaviness, when you've cleared out the energy that keeps you in the density, and you become lighter and lighter and lighter, we actually can work with you more in that, in the energy of love, and guide you towards connecting with your higher self. But it takes more efforting, it takes more connection, it takes more stillness for you to be able to perceive us because of the lightness of the frequency. Now, this is a practice that you can engage in and learn. It is not difficult. It is not something that you have to work hard at. That is why it's stillness. Stillness is not hard. You make it hard because your energy creates the heaviness that makes the stillness feel different from what you're normally used to being in. But once you train your body and energy to be still, to be quiet, to be the energy of love, then it's a natural thing for you to pick up subtle shifts and changes around you so that we can work with you and communicate with you. But it requires the human body, the human mind, the human element and energy to be taught and programmed to be able to do that. And this is why we have things on earth such as healers and energies that you might perceive as psychic or abilities to communicate with, so that we can work with them to teach you how to be still. The anxiety, the fear, the element of all the things that might keep you in a low frequency does not necessarily keep you from connecting with us, but the way you connect with us will be different because we will pick up on the fear inside of you. We will pick up on the anxiety inside of you, and you're going to perceive us in that way. But there are not spirits that are attempting to harm you. Very, very likely and very, very few of these spirits will attempt to harm you. But you have to understand that the element of energy that you are in is how they're going to interact with you. And the more you feed something, the bigger it becomes. So if you are feeding fear into a spirit and they're gaining energy from this, they're going to continue to move in that energy. They're going to continue to interact with you in that energy. If you were feeding love, if you were feeding peace, you were feeding kindness into the energy and projection into the spirit that you're communicating with, that is what they're going to perceive back to you. The spirits are not in a place where they understand evil or darkness or light and love. They just simply are love. They simply are a frequency. And so they don't necessarily think about being evil when they're working with you because that's not who they really are. However, they're picking up on your energy and that is how they're projecting themselves. And so the more you feed that, the more they interact with it. So in order to work out through this energy and understand that you are the energy you project out and what you receive back to you, our first thing that we would like to encourage you to do is learn how to become still and to remember that your heart is the frequency of your original true self. And when you work with your heart, when you work with the energy of the brain within the heart, the memory that your heart has of who you really are, that is the energy that you will start to project outward. And that will open up your energetic field so you can sense and feel the shifts that are around you, even when they're subtle. This is something all humans can do. There is no human that is not capable of doing this. It is just about practice and learning. We encourage you to pay attention to the energy in which you are holding so that you can shift into a different consciousness and awaken the gifts that you have within you. We love you. We love you. We love you. We are always here, and we are always here to support you. I hope that was helpful for you. Again, I just want to emphasize that this is something that all humans are capable of doing, of communicating with spirits, and that your energy really does play a huge part. And so I'm not 100% sure of all they said. I was aware of some of it, but I hope it helps you to be able to understand how you can better connect with your spirit team and understand who you are communicating with. Almost every single time I've worked with a client that has come to me and said that they had heaviness or a dark entity around them, or they were seeing something or sensing something, almost 90% of the time, it was one of their loved ones that was attempting to get their attention. And because they were in the energy of fear, the loved one was using the fear to help them to know that they were aware, to help them see that they were there with them. So be careful about the energy that you're working with, because that is going to be what you perceive when you connect with the spirits. It is very possible to work in the energy of love and peace and a very light energy to connect with spirits. And if that is something that you would like to learn how to do so that you can open your energetic field to connect with even more of your spirit team or loved ones, then reach out. I have several options that you can use to work with me, whether that is intensive mentorship and spiritual healing, or you just want to attend my monthly live channeling events where you can ask questions directly. The link is below to my website and to the memberships. And while you're in there, check out both of my books. I will be releasing my third book, hopefully within the next 6 months, maybe year, depending on how quickly my spirit team gives me the messages. But I have been channeling quite a bit of messages about the wisdom of the universe, which I think you're going to really want to know. It has been eye-opening and enlightening for me to hear what they have had to say to me. So until we meet again, I wish you the best day, night, evening, whatever time it is for you. I send you all the universal love. Namaste.